2022 has been a great year for horror films, and the trend still continues with this brand new psychological horror film that is coming out this weekend. And I'm really excited to talk about this one because this was terrifying. Welcome back, film fans. It is Brad from Let's Be Real Brad, and today in the channel, I want to talk to you guys about the brand new psychological horror film called Smile. Smile is written and directed by Parker Finn in his feature film debut. The film is based off of the 2020 short film called Laura Hasn't Slept that is also written and directed by Parker Finn. The film stars Sosie Bacon and Jessie T. Usher. After witnessing a bizarre traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Rose Cutter, played by Sosie Bacon, starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. Rose must confront her troubling past in order to survive and escape her horrifying new reality. So going into this film, I had no expectations for it because the marketing for this movie was pretty good, considering the fact that they were having these really creepy people at the baseball games last Friday, and also the trailers for this movie had a lot of people hyped. To my surprise, this was a terrifying and really good horror film that I really can't wait to watch again. Why I think this movie works so well is the fact that this movie knows exactly what it needs to be by being horrifying and going for that shock value. This movie focuses very heavily on mental health and how mental illnesses really can destroy you. And as someone who has dealt with mental illness probably most of my entire life, this movie definitely spoke to me on a very personal level. And this movie has so many of the little details of what happens to somebody when their mental health becomes in crisis and when mental illness starts taking over. I found this movie to be very effective and very horrifying, and my beats per minute that was detected on my smartwatch was extremely high while watching this movie because I found it to be very terrifying. So let's just dive right into my positives first, and we got to start with the horror, as this is easily the strongest aspect about this film, as I found every single scare and the jump scares and the whole elements of this movie to be really terrifying, especially in the third act that is going to haunt my nightmares for a really long time. I had no idea that this movie could be as scary as it was, but there is something about the way the camera shots are presented and the direction and the fake outs with many general audiences are going to be really shocked at some of the things they see in this movie. And I also found that this movie really goes for it at times, as this is an R-rated film, and I think it really took advantage of that. I also found this movie used a lot of practical effects and really good CGI that felt very minimum, and I have no idea what was CGI and what wasn't because I found it all to blend extremely well and not overly utilized. I also found the performances to be particularly strong in this movie, especially from Sosie Bacon, who is in the lead role of the film. I thought she was the dominant force in the whole movie, as she is the daughter of Kevin Bacon. I also found Jessie T. Usher, who plays A-Train on The Boys, to be pretty good as well in a more supporting role. Everybody else in this film does a pretty solid job. There are a couple times where the performances do feel a little mediocre and at sometimes a little bit hilarious because of how bad and unexecuted it is, but often than not, I think it was all pretty solid. But one of my favorite aspects about this movie has got to be the screenplay, and this movie was very reminiscent of something like It Follows and Final Destination, and some people might criticize it in that way, but I found that it was able to take those movies and make it something unique and something a little bit different. I found the dialogue between all the characters to be pretty genuine, and I also really enjoyed the fact that a lot of the characters, especially our main character, is a very complex person, and they take the mental illness very seriously in this movie, and there really isn't too many jokes. The tone really made the scares even more effective. I also found the music in the film to be pretty solid as well, especially in the opening and the third act that were very prominent. I also found the direction by Parker Finn to be really good here, as all performances are really good, and I enjoyed the way this movie becomes so psychological, especially in the way that this film shot and some of the sound choices in this movie, and even the scares themselves. This movie had one particular jump scare that is going to freak everybody out, because it definitely did in my theater that involves a laptop. Unfortunately, this film does have a few negatives here, and the first one is that this movie has a basic structure, or my wife would say outline, of a very typical horror film that we have seen 100 times before. So there are certain elements of this movie that do become very predictable. If you are a veteran of the horror movie genre, this movie is going to feel a little bit predictable, but it doesn't completely take this movie down, because I do think there's enough surprises and different things that this movie goes for that still makes it entertaining to watch. I also found some of the scares to be not as effective, and it only happens a few times here and there with a couple jump scares. And the last negative I have, which is a little bit of a nitpick, that I did think this movie could have been a little bit shorter, because the movie is around an hour and 50 minutes, and I do think it could have been just trimmed a little bit shorter, because this isn't the most complex movie ever made. Overall, Smile was a massive surprise, being a very terrifying and scary film that I cannot wait to watch again, as it has been a great year for 2022 in the horror genre. It features a great screenplay, great scares, pretty solid performances, and I think it has a very high rewatch value, and I hope that they make a sequel in the future and it's actually good, because this movie was worth checking out in the theater if you can. I'm giving Smile a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review. As I want to know below in the comment section, have you seen the film? Are you excited to see the movie? Let me know down below. I can't wait to hear about it. Before you guys check out this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.